People always say cheap motels come with creepy vibes. Moldy bathrooms, flickering lights, weird stains on the sheets. I've dealt with all that. But this place, it felt wrong the moment I stepped in. I was driving through Arizona, trying to get to Flagstaff before a snowstorm rolled in, but a flat tire on Route 89 forced me to spend the night in a no-name town called Avenel Ridge. Never heard of it before, and after this, I'll never forget it. The only place open was a rundown motel that looked like it hadn't seen guests since the 90s. The neon sign read Red Pines Inn, though only the R, P, and part of the N were lit. The lobby reeked of wet carpet and stale cigarettes. The man behind the counter was pale, with yellowed eyes that twitched like he hadn't slept in days. He didn't say much, just handed me the key to room 6 and muttered, "Don't open the mirror." At the time, I thought he meant don't break the mirror or something. Weird phrasing, sure, but I was too tired to ask questions. I took the key, nodded, and walked down the dim corridor to my room. Room 6 smelled like bleach and mildew. One queen bed, a TV from another decade, and a huge wall mirror above a dusty dresser. I sat down and checked my phone. No signal. No Wi-Fi either. Outside the window, the town was dead silent, like it hadn't seen life in weeks. I unpacked, washed my face, and went to brush my teeth when I heard something, faint tapping. Not from the door, not from outside. It was coming from the mirror. I paused, toothbrush halfway to my mouth, and looked at the mirror again. Nothing there, just my reflection in the empty room behind me. I walked over, leaned closer. That's when I noticed the edges. The mirror wasn't attached to the wall like in normal motels. It had a half-inch gap running around the frame. The kind of gap you get when something is removable. I remembered what the guy at the front desk said, "Don't open the mirror." My gut said to leave it alone. Go to sleep. Leave at sunrise. But curiosity got the better of me. I slid my fingers under the edge and pulled. To my surprise, the mirror popped out with a creak, like a hidden door. Behind it wasn't drywall, but a gaping square hole, and beyond that, darkness. It was a tunnel, a narrow crawl space carved into the wall, maybe 4 feet high, lined with stone and dirt. The air spilling from it was cold and smelled like old water and rusted metal. For a full minute, I stood there frozen. Then I saw it, something etched into the stone on the inside wall. A message, scrawled in black. "Turn back. He's awake now." I backed away, tried to shut the mirror, but it wouldn't go back in, like something behind it was pushing out. My heart pounded. I grabbed my bag and headed straight for the front desk. But the lobby was empty now. The guy was gone. No car outside. Just a torn page from a Bible sitting on the counter under the guest book. The page read, "He mocketh darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies." I was done. I threw my bag in the car, turned the key, and nothing. Engine clicked, but wouldn't start. Tried again. Dead. Then I looked up. Room 6 light was on again. The curtain drawn just slightly. And something was watching me through the gap. Not a person. Not a face. Just 2 white shapes like eyes. Not glowing. Just there. I ran. Around the back of the motel, trying to find the manager. Nothing but desert and a chain-link fence. I called out. No answer. But behind the fence, there were more buildings. Half buried. Sunken into the dirt. No lights. Just cracked rooftops and exposed beams like the earth had swallowed them. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed in the car, gripping my tire iron, watching that room. Sometime around 3:30 a.m., the power went out in the whole motel. But room 6 light stayed on. And someone, walked across the window. Slow, like they wanted me to see them. By sunrise, the light was finally off. I checked the front office again. Still no one. So I broke the office window and climbed in, desperate to find car keys or a phone. Inside the desk drawer was a black and white photo, cracked and yellowed. It showed a different version of the Red Pines Inn. Cleaner, newer. Standing in front of it were 4 men in maintenance uniforms. One of them looked exactly like the guy who gave me the key, except the date on the back said June 1954. I turned the photo over. Someone had scribbled in red ink. "He watches through the mirror. The tunnel leads to him. Don't stay past the 3rd night." I haven't made it to night 2 yet. And now I'm not sure I ever will. Because I just walked back to room 6, and the mirror is gone. Just a hole now, with footprints leading inside. And something breathing on the other side. I didn't want to go into that tunnel. Every survival instinct screamed to leave the motel, abandon my car, run until my lungs collapsed if I had to. But I couldn't. Something about that hole, about the footprints going in, it felt personal now, like it knew me. Like whatever was down there had chosen me. I grabbed the flashlight from my glove compartment, clenched the tire iron in my other hand, and stood at the edge of the mirrorless wall. The footprints were small, barefoot, leading into a darkness so thick it swallowed light. I pointed my flashlight in. The tunnel walls were tight, damp, and lined with decaying wood support beams. It smelled like old rot and wet rust. Every few feet, there were strange markings etched into the stone, symbols that looked tribal, primitive, but unervingly symmetrical. Like whoever carved them had perfect hands, or too many of them. I crawled. Each step forward echoed louder than the last. Not because of the space, but because the silence was too perfect. I couldn't even hear my own breathing properly, like sound got eaten in there. Then I saw something ahead. A door. Not a modern one. It was circular, carved out of stone, with a rusted handle and black stains at the edges. Hanging on it was a motel key. Room 6. I reached out slowly and turned the handle. The door creaked open to reveal a chamber, much larger than I expected. And what I saw inside should not exist. It looked like a room. A replica of room 6. Same layout, same bed, same dresser. But everything was off. The furniture was too big, stretched unnaturally tall. The TV had no screen. The mirror frame was empty. And on the bed, someone was lying there. No, not someone. Me. I froze. The figure had my face, my clothes, even the same bandage on my left wrist from when I cut myself a week ago opening a can. He, or it, was asleep, breathing slow and heavy, eyes fluttering beneath shut lids. I backed away, not even noticing the door close behind me until it slammed. Then everything changed. The lights went out. The mirror in the room began glowing, a faint, gray shimmer like moonlight on a pond. My reflection wasn't showing anymore. Instead, I saw him, the real him, a tall, lanky figure with stretched skin and arms too long for his body. His eyes were blank, pale, like peeled grapes. He didn't move. He didn't blink. He just stared. And then, from the glowing mirror, a voice spoke, not loud, not menacing, but whisper soft and too close. You opened the mirror. You made a way. I turned and ran back to the door. Pulled. Slammed. Kicked. Nothing. It wouldn't budge. The room was getting colder. My breath fogged. My fingers numbed. The walls started bleeding. Black ooze leaking from every corner like veins were bursting behind them. I looked back at the bed. The copy of me was awake now, sitting up, smiling. And then it whispered in my exact voice. He only needed one of us. You brought the rest. The air pulsed. The mirror shimmered again, and now others appeared in it. More versions of me. Some were screaming. Some were banging on invisible glass. One was digging into his own skin. Another one was headless. That's when I realized something horrifying. They were all alive. Trapped. Watching. I dropped the flashlight. The bulb shattered. Darkness ate the room whole. But I heard the crawling, wet hands against stone. Something was coming from the tunnel. Not fast. Not loud. But steady. I curled into the corner, tire iron raised. Then a light flickered on. A single hanging bulb in the center of the room, swaying like it had been pushed. Below it, the mirror copy of me now stood. And in his place on the bed was him. The tall man. Now I could see him clearly. He wore a motel uniform, faded red with a crooked name tag that read Vance. His skin was cracked like dried mud. His mouth didn't open to speak, but his voice still came. I was here long before the town, before the roads. The mirror was a gift. A door. You brought it back. I couldn't move. He stepped toward me. Every guest becomes a version. Every version forgets. Every version feeds me. And then he pointed to the mirror. My reflection returned, but it wasn't doing what I was doing. It was smiling. It's your turn now. I screamed and swung the tire iron at the mirror. It shattered. The light went out again. When I woke up, I was back in the real room 6. At least, I thought it was real. The mirror was whole again. The hole was gone. My bag was still on the bed. Sunlight peeked through the curtain. Had it all been a dream? I rushed outside, found the motel empty again. My car now started on the first try. I drove without stopping until I hit the next gas station, where a woman behind the counter stared at me like she saw a ghost. You okay, man? You look drained. I nodded. Just needed some sleep. She frowned. You coming from Avenel Ridge? Yeah. She shook her head slowly. That place was shut down 60 years ago. I laughed. No, I stayed there last night. She didn't laugh back. She turned around and pulled out an old, laminated article from a dusty drawer. Yellowed. Burn at the edges. The headline read, Red Pines and Destroyed in Gas Explosion. No Survivors Found. Date, July 3rd, 1955. I looked at the picture. There was the motel, and standing outside, on the far right, was a tall man in a faded red uniform. Name tag barely visible. Vance. The newspaper crinkled in my hands as I stared at the headline. Red Pines and Destroyed in Gas Explosion. No Survivors Found. But I had just been there. Slept in room 6. Walked through that tunnel. Saw myself on that bed. Saw him. I looked up at the gas station clerk, her eyes still fixed on me like I was something pulled from her nightmares. My fingers trembled. You're telling me that Motel's been gone for decades? She nodded slowly. Burned straight to hell. Nobody ever found the source. Some said it was a gas leak. Others blamed something older. She leaned in, lowering her voice. They said the land was cursed, that people used to disappear there. One girl claimed the mirror in room 6 showed her dead grandfather, but backwards, like he was watching from the other side. My throat tightened. Room 6, I whispered. She froze. You stayed in room 6? I nodded. She stepped back, almost knocking over a rack of chips. I've got a cousin in town. Works with the fire department. He swears they still get calls from the old line. A ringing phone. Always from room 6. Always silent when they pick up. My legs felt like jelly. I thanked her, left the station, and drove as far from Avenel Ridge as I could. I should have let it end there, but I didn't. I started dreaming of mirrors, of my reflection blinking when I didn't, of shadows moving in the corners of hotel rooms. Every time I passed a reflective surface, I could swear he was there, Vance, in that red uniform, smiling with eyes like holes. And always behind him dozens of me. Then the headaches started, the kind that come in flashes, like static tearing through your thoughts. I stopped recognizing myself in pictures. My voice began to sound wrong, off-pitch like someone mimicking me too well. One night, I found a motel key in my jacket pocket. Room 6. I didn't remember taking it, but I couldn't throw it away. I moved cities, changed my number, tossed every mirror in my apartment. But it followed me, he followed me. Sometimes, I'd hear tapping behind the bathroom wall, or the sound of bed springs shifting when I was the only one in the room. One morning, I found footprints in my hallway, barefoot, damp, leading into my bedroom. I bought a camera and recorded myself sleeping. What I saw on the third night still haunts me. At 3:11 a.m., the closet door creaked open. A man stepped out, tall, red motel uniform, and he wasn't alone. A second figure crawled behind him, on all fours. Its face wasn't visible at first, but when it turned toward the camera, I nearly threw up. It was me, pale, dead-eyed, smiling. They stood at the edge of my bed, watched me sleep for a full 45 minutes. Then both turned, walked to the mirror, and disappeared into it. I smashed the mirror that night, but all I saw behind it was plaster. The next morning, the mirror was whole again, unbroken. I called a therapist, tried explaining. He said it sounded like derealization, trauma response. I almost believed him, until he pulled out a hand mirror from his drawer and held it up to me. He froze. The mirror didn't show me. It showed Vance, standing behind him. He dropped the mirror. It shattered. The session ended early. I never saw him again. Months passed. The world blurred. I don't remember sleeping. I don't remember waking up. Sometimes I blink and the clock jumps 3 hours. Sometimes I see myself in reflections I don't remember walking past. And the worst part? I think something inside me is changing. My hands feel longer. My limbs ache like they're stretching. And my voice. I recorded a message the other day and played it back. It sounded layered, like there were two of me speaking at once. One slightly deeper, distorted, wrong. Then yesterday, I found another motel key in my mailbox. Room 6. No envelope. No note. Just the key. Cold as ice. And tonight, I saw my reflection smile before I did. I'm not sure how much longer I can hold this off. There's something Vance told me that keeps echoing in my head. Every guest becomes a version. Every version forgets. Every version feeds me. I'm beginning to forget things. Names. Places. What day it is. Sometimes I wake up standing in front of the mirror with no idea how I got there. And the worst part? I'm starting to smile more. The same smile. Wide. Empty. Like him. If you ever drive through a forgotten town, one not on the maps anymore, and you see a faded sign that says Red Pines Inn, turn around. Don't stop. Don't blink. And whatever you do, don't check the mirror. Because once you see it, it sees you back. And Vance never stops watching.